All right, back to business with Ryan Newman, who is second in the NASCAR Sprint
Don't say
Cup
it like
Series.
you're surprised.
No, second. That's good. That's good. It's excellent. Used to be there all the time.
Yeah. See, you are surprised.
How about that? How about that? Nah, we're going retro, right?
Everything you say now, I'm not going to believe.
Martinsville. It good, bad, ugly for you?
It can be all of the above. We were horrible here last fall at the start of practice, and we actually had the idea of going someplace to test for Martinsville, and that didn't work. And then we finally got good at the start of the race, went up and led some laps, and then broke a rear gear running in the top 5. So it can be a little bit of everything. And just as Kurt had said, it's 500 laps, but it's 1,000 cycles on your brakes, on your transmission, on your gears. Pit road's really tight. A lot of things that we deal with from a mechanical standpoint, as far as what's tough on the race car is even tougher here. So, just if you have a good car, manage it and put yourself in a position where you can be David Pearson or Richard Petty here at the end.
We'll go right to questions for Ryan. Raise your hand so I can see you. Let's make him work. Wow, simultaneous. Let's go Joe, Lee, and then we'll work the next row back there.
You don't do ladies first here anymore? I mean, they put their hands up at the same time, and there was a lady in there, but you didn't do ladies first.
First come, first serve.
Would you like me to give it to a lady?
No, it's okay. I didn't know if manners were out the window here at Martinsville. I remember that lap 3.
Joe Menzer, NASCAR. Okay. How do you like the new qualifying setup here, or don't you? What's your opinion of it?
I don't mind the qualifying setup. I just don't want to come here for one day and just qualify. To me, for what we do in qualifying, it sure would be it makes more sense to me just to use our practice speeds for qualifying and not have to spend an extra day or, put the time in. I don't know what the schedule is after our cup practice, but if we could qualify after our cup practice and make it a 2-day event, that to me makes the most sense. But coming here, I had the opportunity to go back and forth, so coming up tomorrow for 2 laps is not the most planned, I guess you could say, as far as use of everybody's time. And then you got guys here on the crews that are coming up here and spending nights in motels to be here for 2 laps. So, I think it's an experiment, and I'm not mad about it, but I don't see that it makes an entire sense right now.
Now, Lee.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Can you say the biggest difference between last year and this year so far has just been luck? Because you had a lot of.
Do you want me to say that?
No, I'm asking.
You said, can I say that? So, yeah, I can, but I don't want to.
Okay. Put it in perspective for us then.
I think some of it has been us on the good side of luck versus the bad side of luck. But I think in saying that, as I've said before in the past, even when we're having bad luck, part of that's preparation. So I think we put ourselves in a better position, team-wise, communication-wise, to be more successful this year. We've, after 2 years of working together, we learned what we needed to work on, and I think we did a good job in the off-season of doing that. So, what was it? Just overall teamwork, communication. I just said that, but just communication. Just really just how we work together as a team, just talking about things more is probably the biggest part of it, being more specific about what we talk about in reference to the race car and the balance and things like that.
Go ahead there in row 3 and then hand the microphone to Johnny when you're done.
Jonathan Merriman, Channel 10. Martinsville's a pretty tough racetrack, a lot of bumping and banging, and it can get frustrating. How do you mentally prepare yourself coming into the weekend?
It's Martinsville. I was thinking about it this morning. You've been doing it for 9 years or whatever it is now, 9 or 10 years, and it's just after you do it so many times, you just come here with the mindset of it's just Martinsville. But to answer your question, for somebody that hasn't been here, you have to manage a lot of things. You manage your brakes, you manage your bumpers, you don't knock the radiator in, you leave yourself a little bit of room on pit road. You know that it's 500 laps, and even if you get a lap down, the way the cautions work here, there's going to be several lucky dogs. Just things like that you just have to keep thinking about instead of knocking the guy out of the way that won't move after 4 laps of following him.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Johnny Buck with the Martinsville Bulletin. Ryan, do you have to be a good athlete to be a great driver at this level? And also, How much of a factor can physical fitness or stamina play into a performance, say, maybe at the end of a tough race?
Why wouldn't you have to be a great athlete to be a great driver?
I'm asking if
You said good athlete to be a great driver. I'm asking why you wouldn't have to be a great athlete.
Because I've talked to some drivers who said you don't have to be an athlete at all to be a good driver.
Nobody lies, right? Nobody stretches the truth. I think, to answer your question, I just was picking on you because you said good athlete and then great driver, because I think, in some sports, depending on the athleticism or the amount of athleticism, you have to be a great athlete to be a great professional, I guess you could say, whether it's a driver or player or whatever. So I think in what we do, I don't think you have to be super athletic. I think more of what we do is what the U.S. Army is all about, which is the mental, the physical, and a balance of the emotional strength to be successful. So I don't think I have to be capable of outrunning Jimmy Johnson or Mark Martin or Carl Edwards, but I have to be able to stay with them when I need to, and at the same time have the mental and the emotional strength to be successful. So I couldn't tell you if I needed to be good to be great, but I can tell you that I think it takes a balance of all three of those things to be successful as a race car driver because of what we do. We're sitting in a chair operating pedals and a steering wheel, which is entirely different than going head-to-head, helmet to helmet with somebody else. So the athleticism is not a direct comparison.
Rusty, raise your hand.
Rusty Baldwin, NASCAR Media Group. If I could just get you to look ahead to Texas. First, your mile-and-a-half stats for the year are pretty good. I was just looking at those. And then, of course, there's a little bit of excitement about this first night race at Texas. So just your thoughts going into Texas. I would imagine you're pretty confident so far.
Well, that's one of the things, going back to Lee's question, the things we've worked on, and that's our biggest weakness as a team was our bad luck at restrictor plates, which we called partially bad luck. The second biggest weakness we had was our intermediate tracks, our mile-and-a-half, 2-mile race tracks. We didn't have as good a stats there as we did at the short tracks and some of the road course stuff. So that was one of the things that, looking at after the first 5 races between Vegas and California, that we're happy that we've made big improvements as a team on the 39 side. Obviously, Tony's proved that he can get it done, and we've made a bigger statement about what we're capable of. So going into Texas, I'm happy. I look forward to it. The night race, I think the biggest thing is what's the track going to do. I don't know. We always had a big balanced transition at places like Charlotte and Atlanta, and they were sometimes different. But going into Texas, what the transitions are going to be and what the weather's going to be like that leads to those transitions.
Claire, raise your. Oops, I'm sorry, Ryan. I stepped on you. Go
it's
ahead.
Okay. That's the biggest thing. Is just answering the unanswered. But everybody has the unanswered right now.
Go ahead, Claire.
Claire Belang, Sirius NASCAR Radio. Can you put the fans kind of behind the wheel of a car at Martinsville as you drive? You're used to making yourself wide. This track takes a lot of patience. What's it really like to race here?
That's a pretty vague question. I mean, it can be totally different because you can be up front and it can just be relaxing because you're just barely easing in the brakes. You're not driving real hard in the corner. You're not having to outbrake somebody. Obviously, if you're out front, you've got a good race car, you've had a good pit stop, whatever, you're in a good position. But then if you're back in the middle of the storm and you're having to really abuse your race car because of traffic, not because of the way you drive. So they might get sideways or get bumper to bumper and check up in front of you, and you have to overbrake your race car when otherwise you wouldn't. So you're abusing your race car unintentionally because of traffic, and that's one of the biggest things here that you have to manage. If you have a fast race car, is not use it up and get stuck back in there with those guys that are using up their race cars in traffic. So that's just one perspective that you don't normally see out on the racetrack. I should say you don't normally see because you're not on the racetrack doing what we do. It looks like we're just all kind of jumbling up, but you don't know how much leg it takes to get these cars to stop sometimes and what you're doing to the rotors and the brakes to cause that.
Jay, raise your hand.
Jay Pennell with front stretch and all left turns. We've seen a number of drivers, especially Tony this year, take a lot of gambles on pit road, pit strategy. How much of those decisions planned out or kind of seat of the pants, seat of the moment decisions? And you talked about communication. How much does that play into the confidence that when your crew chief comes over and says, "Hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that"? How much does that help?
I understand your question, but I think it's a little out of context because I don't think we've taken gambles on pit road. I think we've taken options. I think that we've taken 2 tires when other guys have taken 4. To me, a gamble is when you go out there and you say, man, we might make it on fuel, so we're going to stay out. And we haven't done that with our team. Stewart's done it a couple times, but we haven't done that. So I don't necessarily agree with the word gamble, but I understand your context of the question, and that is that I think we've put ourselves in the option of track positions. I'd say more so than 4 tires, and that I think has helped us at times. So that could change at different racetracks, but I'd say in general Tony Gibson's been making great calls in respect to that.
Raise your hand. Oh, there she is.
Jonathan Merriman, WSLS. You're second in the points. And you're outdoing the boss man right now in the standings. Do you rub that in a little bit during the week?
No. Honestly, I haven't seen him since California. But he doesn't rub it into me when he's ahead of me, so I don't rub it into him. I mean, he honestly he sees us as equals when it comes to what we do in the race cars. And just because he owns my race car doesn't mean I rub it in his face when I'm 1 point or 30 points ahead of him. So that. If he did rub it into me, I would rub it into him. Let's just put it that way. But we'd do it jokingly, not seriously.
What else for Ryan? Anything else? No? Go get him this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.